Welcome everybody. We have this question. I am sure that you would have come across this question because the solution to this question is already available on the social media. Now, why am I doing this? Basically for one main reason. The solution provided by the other individual has got a lot of flaws embedded within it, and it is totally inaccurate and incorrect to begin with. And what I will do is I will show you the correct way to solve this question, and later on I will show you why the video provided by this erstwhile person is inaccurate and it is flawed. So allow me to do that. So foremost, what I will do is I will give a presentation with the correct manner how to do this question, because for the simple fact this question has got two variables, x and y, and there is only one equation. The equation is x positive x times y. Positive y is equal to 54, with x and y being positive integers, and we are expected to find x positive y. That is the requirement for this particular question. What is x positive y equal to? And the catch is positive integers. Now, since it's been given as positive integers, the question is easily solvable. Now, foremost, what I would do is I would start with consider x positive x times y positive y is equal to 54. Then I will club these two together. I will take x out. So this would give me one positive y with x out, followed by a y is equal to 54. Now I would like to have a one positive y over here. So for that to happen, what I need to do is I would have to add a 1 on the left hand side and add a 1 on the right hand side. Right? This is to balance the system, right? I have to balance this equation, and this is going to be clubbed together. Y positive 1 is clubbed together, and so I got a y positive 1 and a y positive 1. So I can clearly take y positive 1 out and rewrite this as x positive 1 is equal to 54 added with 1 would give me 55. So this is what we have got. Now this is similar to a times b is equal to 55. Now the most important point here is, when is this possible? When can I have the left hand side to be equal to right hand side? In other words, all I'm asking you to find the value of a and b, or what would the value of a and b. Now in math there is an important field which is called as guess and check, right? Now this is a tool, right? You have to understand that this is a tool, and not always you can utilize this tool, but there are special cases where this tool ought to be used, and there is no way to avoid this application of guess and check. So in other words, on the right hand side I've got a number 55, and it is a unique number. Why is it unique number? Because of the fact that it is an odd number, and not only that, it can be easily obtained with a few trials. So what am I trying to tell you here is, how is it that I can be in a position to obtain 55? It's straightforward. Either I can have a 1 multiplied with 55, vice versa, I can have a 55 multiplied with 1. So the first possibility and the second possibility. The next possibility is I can have a 5 in the first place and I can multiply it with 11. And vice versa, I can have 11 and then multiply it with a 5. So these are the only possibilities you can have for 55, right? So clearly what I would do is, if I were to have y positive 1 times x positive 1 is equal to 55, I can clearly see that either y positive 1 should be equal to 1, and when this happens, x positive 1 would be equal to 55. Or y positive 1 would be equal to 55, and on the other end x positive 1, right? So I have basically removed these two options out. Now having got this option, the next one is y positive 1 should be equal to 5, or considering for x positive 1, x positive 1 would be equal to 11, and on the other end y positive 1 would be equal to 11 and x positive 1 is equal to 5. So these are the options. We have exhausted all this. Now there is a problem with this y positive 1 is equal to 1. Why? If I were to take this, y would be equal to 1 negative 1, which would give me y is equal to 0, right? So y is equal to 0. On the other hand, if I were to take x positive 1 is equal to 55, then clearly if I were to move this guy 1 to the other end, I would have x to be equal to, but it is given that x and y are positive integers. You can clearly see that x and y are positive integers. So when we talk about integers, it's a collection of all elements without 0, right? It starts from 1 and it goes up to infinity. So this is the set of integers. So in this case, y is equal to 0 is not permitted. So I need to strike this out. And over here, this one would result in x being equal to 0. I need to strike this out. So now all that remains is y positive 1 is equal to 5. So if y positive 1 is equal to 5, then y is equal to 5 negative 1. So y is equal to 4. That would be one value. And on this end, x positive 1 is equal to 11. Then x is equal to 11 minus 1, which would give me x is equal to 10. So I got a set here. So what is my set? X value being 10 and y value being equal to 4. So this is one solution. And for this case, in this case, this is the second set, the second set of solutions so that are occurring. And how did we get that? We got that by guess and check. Now the question wants us not the values of x and y, right? The question wants us to find the sum x positive y. So this would mean my x positive y is going to be, you can take any values of this. If you were to take x to be as 10 and y to be as 4, x positive y will be equal to 14, right? So this means no matter whether you take this set or that set, the value of x positive y, let me just write that down, the value of x positive y is going to be equal to 14, right? Now what are the takeaway from this particular question? Now this particular question is little bit unique. Unique for the matter is that it's got one particular equation, just one equation, and it's got two variables. That is a special feature. Using this system, okay, they have asked us to find x positive y. What if they are giving us a different expression? Say for example, they want us to get this expression sorted out. Say x squared positive x times y and y positive 1 raised to the power of 3 negative say x cubed times y squared negative 2 times xy positive 1. So this is an expression, right? What if they want us to get the value for this expression? In that case, finding the values for x and y becomes utmost important. Now, because you have to understand the most important aspect in mathematics. In mathematics, we are always interested in finding the values of x. This is the utmost objective whenever we are encountering a system. And why did I mention x? Because x is the universal variable that we always look for. If that system has got more than one variable, or we will also be interested in looking for that variable, say y or say z, no matter how many variables are featured. Okay, so having mentioned this, let me just highlight the issue with the previous video that is very popular, and because it is always better to bring this out. Now this is the question that the video maker presents. The video maker says x positive xy positive y is equal to 54. Of course it says x comma y are element of positive integers, that's fine. And then the unthinkable happens. Now what is that unthinkable? The video maker goes out to say we have to solve for x positive y. Now this is basically flawed. We are not solving for x positive y. We are individually finding out the value of x and we are individually finding out the value for y. Why do we need to do that? We have to do that for the very fact that we have to extract what would be the value for this expression x positive y. So that is the first flaw. Now the second flaw, as the presenter has demonstrated it, at one particular point there is this system. Of course, y positive 1 times x positive 1 is equal to 55. And then the presenter gives the choices. Say y positive 1 is equal to 5. When this happens, x positive 1 is equal to 11. and on the other end y positive 1 is equal to 11 and x positive 1 is equal to 5. So these are the cases, and the other case was not mentioned at all, which should have been mentioned because it's an educational video, so it is imperative to mention why that solution is not coming into play. Anyway, that is not a big mistake. It can be avoided, or I should say it can be condoned. There's no point in that. Now over here, this is where the problem arises. Instead of actually outrightly giving the solution, outrightly extracting the value for x and y, which is important and it is indispensable, the content maker goes on, or I should say mentions x positive y, and then says we can actually write x positive y as x positive 1 followed by y positive 1, which is in turn followed by with a negative 2. Now my question is that why should this step be brought in? Now there is a presence of a mathematical quantity 1 here, mathematical quantity 1 here, and then a sign here, and then another sign here. I should say another sign over here and another sign over here. See the signs, a sign here, a mathematical quantity here, a sign here, a mathematical quantity, a sign here, and a mathematical quantity over here. Now if you were to ask to write a code for this, you are expected to first write an effective algorithm. So in that case, if you were to be writing an algorithm by introducing so much of unwanted symbols, you are basically bringing the time and the space into conflict, right? That means whatever code you are going to write, it was not going to be efficient. So that is a major issue. The video maker then goes on to just say this can be written as x positive 1 followed by y positive 1 and a negative 2. I know that x positive 1 is equal to 11 here, so I will substitute 11 here, and y positive 1 is equal to 5 here. I can substitute that, and this is going to be 16 negative 2 is equal to 14. But the question is it really required to actually bring this over here? Now there are a few things that have to be considered. Now whenever we add something, say for example we add a 1 and we take a 1 out, or we add a 1 on both sides, this is actually performed whenever a live equation is, we don't do this for an expression. This is just an expression. There isn't equality here. Now whenever you are basically demonstrating a technique like this, what you're exactly sending out as a signal is that, okay, no matter whatever expression is that, we can modify it and write it. So in that case, if this x positive y is an expression, I can simply write x positive y as, say, x to the power of 3 negative 3 times x squared, say positive 3xy, and a negative y cubed, and I can just place a y there, and then I can remove this. I can remove everything here, right? So what happens when you do like that? You are basically unwantedly, you are basically disturbing the original expression. That's one thing. And next thing is that by introducing all of these things, you are taking away, as I mentioned to you, the efficiency in if you had to write a code for this, you're taking away the efficiency in this particular context, and that should be avoided. And the next important situation which I wish to bring to your attention is that, okay, we were given x positive y. Now what if the requirement was to get x cubed negative 3 times x squared y squared? What if that be the requirement? In that case, what happens is that the ability to calculate x and y is missing here. We don't know what is x and y. All that we are doing by this technique is that we are just obtaining the value for the expansion x positive y. So what I wish to tell you is calculating the value for x and y is very important. And next important thing is that it is imperative that people know that there is an important tool called as guess and check. So this has to be mentioned. So these are some of the flaws. Thank you everyone.